everyone! I'm filming this around a fortnight before it's going to go live, and the reason I'm filming it at all is because I am monumentally fed up. Seriously, I am torn between filming this video in black and white and just putting sad piano music over it, and filming it with flames edited to appear everywhere and just really angry music over the top of it. You see, here in the UK, COVID restrictions have been being eased, and that's been great. But whereas the government is super keen to open up gyms and pubs and restaurants and tell lots of amateur groups they can go back. Yes, you may do your yoga. Yes, you may go and play with your amateur orchestra. There is an area that the government have just completely and totally screwed over, and I am talking about amateur choirs. As you may or may not know, I am a member of a women's barbershop chorus. We sing a cappella, and I'm not just a member of that chorus, I'm assistant director and currently chairperson of that chorus. I also sing in a quartet, so singing is a big deal. And I'm gonna be really honest with you, I think the way the government have treated amateur singers in this country is fairly horrendous. At the time of filming, the Euros are currently happening and everybody's all excited about football. Yay! Go England, or if you're not English, go whoever you're supporting. Great. Now, I like football, and I even made a video right here on this channel a few years back about what it's like to support England. 1 minute you're... and then the next it's more like... maybe next time. But whereas currently the rules allow you to cram into a stadium and not necessarily have to even wear a mask and just, shout really loudly and sing for your team and then spill out into the streets with your arms around each other, screaming and shouting, and pack onto the tube trains and still not bother putting a mask on and just scream and shout, and there will literally be no comeback for you. Amateur choirs are not allowed to rehearse properly, even with a detailed risk assessment in place. And I know that my chorus has a detailed risk assessment in place because I'm the one who wrote it. We are not allowed to meet indoors in groups of more than 6. Now, if you're an amateur orchestra or woodwind group, you are allowed to meet in large numbers indoors as long as you have individual groups of 6. So you could have your brass section in a group of 6, you could have your string section in a group of 6, you could have your percussion section in a group of 6, and that way your orchestra could rehearse. But if you're a choir, you are literally allowed 6 people indoors and that's it. Not a group of 6 and then another group of 6, no, 6 in total. There is apparently no reason for this because professional choirs and singing groups are allowed to rehearse with more than 6 indoors. I'm not entirely sure why their germs don't spread, but amateur germs do? Yes, we have been told we are allowed to meet in larger numbers as long as we have rehearsals outdoors. The trouble is that poses several other issues for choirs across the UK. For a start, there's the Great British weather. Then there's other sounds such as traffic noise or people walking by that are going to get in the way of the sound you're trying to create together. There's the fact that singing outdoors doesn't always allow you to make the big resonant sound that directors need in order to pick out problems to work on and for the singers themselves to actually be able to hear the other parts. And of course, there's the simple fact that not all choirs can find a large enough space to accommodate all of them at one time. This might all seem like a very, very trivial concern. I am somebody who was listed as clinically extremely vulnerable, and I have been super, super concerned about catching COVID. Now that I'm fully vaccinated, I feel a lot better about the situation, but I am very aware of why restrictions need to be in place for certain activities. That's why, as chairperson of my chorus, we have a detailed risk assessment in place. We have singers' masks that we wear to rehearsals. I check everybody's temperature as they enter the venue. I've even got an app on my phone where I can report, yes, we held a small group of 6 rehearsal. No, nobody has COVID as a result. We're doing everything we can to allow rehearsals to be as safe as possible, and yet still the government are like, no! And like I said, it may seem like a trivial thing to be upset about, but singing has been proven to boost your mental and physical well-being. And after the last year and a half that we've all been through, I think we need things that boost your mental and physical well-being. It's also incredibly galling because the government are now going against their previous advice. So the last lot of easing of the restrictions happened in May, and we were told that as part of the roadmap that Boris has set out, choirs, like all other music groups and sports groups, would be able to go back to rehearsing indoors properly with all their members after those restrictions were eased in stage 3 of the roadmap, providing we all had risk assessments and safety precautions in place. So when restrictions did ease back in May, all choirs were like, yes, we've written our risk assessments, we've got things in place, we can go back to rehearsal. Some choirs even did go back and have a full rehearsal. And then a day or two later, the government were like, oh, no. Professional choirs can do that, amateur choirs, no. Without any reason. There has been no new data from scientists. Even scientists are coming out and saying, why are you doing this to amateur choirs in particular? Has one of you been traumatized? Don't take it out on the entire choir community. They've since released some very hazy guidance where they're like, oh, just like a professional choir are allowed to rehearse indoors in bigger numbers, if you're an amateur choir but you're rehearsing for a performance that you're going to sell tickets to, then you can rehearse indoors in bigger numbers. But most of us are not rehearsing for a paid performance right now because we're still in a pandemic and not many people are planning big paid performances. So we're left in this position where we can either lie and go, oh yes, we're rehearsing for a paid performance, or we can be honest and be restricted to only having 6 people at rehearsal. Again, why is money the determining factor for our government and not something like, COVID cases in your area or whether or not you have precautions in place? You have no idea, unless you are part of one, how important choirs can be for a local community. For example, I spoke to somebody recently who sings in a choir who last year turned 100 years old. 100 years of history of being a part of their local community. And that person told me that because their members are largely of a certain age, they've not been able to get to grips with rehearsing over Zoom. And now that they're still banned from rehearsing indoors unless they stick to just 6 people being in attendance, a lot of their members are starting to leave, and that person is genuinely concerned that this 100-year-old choir will disappear. And that's really sad. Now, like I said, I am the assistant director and also current chairperson of the chorus that I sing with. So I've been in charge of sorting out all our risk assessment, making sure that our rehearsals are safe. I've been doing rotas so that each week 6 people can come down to our rehearsal venue and have a very small, very weird, socially distanced, masked rehearsal. And we've been live streaming those rehearsals on Zoom so the rest of our members can join in at home if they want to. But I wanted to put something into this video here to show that we are doing everything we can to be safe and to show how important music is and how important singing is to me. So I'm going to insert some footage here to just show you the lengths that we're going to stay safe and to keep singing. And then if you can remember, keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me for sure. That's what friends are for. I have been setting out the chairs, which are nice and apart, and then we'll put on a little piece of paper that has everyone's name on it, and they'll have their own doggy bin to take home their own tissues, so no one touches anybody else's germs. And I need to try and open that window and the fire door to let the air circulate while we're singing. Everybody will be in their singer's masks. I'm just wearing this one before we sing, so. I have to set my laptop up and tether it to my phone so that the rest of the chorus, because we're only allowed 6 in the building, can watch on Zoom at home, which is absolutely definitely not safe. Stop right there! I have to temperature check you! You are safe to enter. I really hope that on July the 19th, which is currently the date that the UK is supposedly going to drop all restrictions, with cases rising, I don't see it happening, but I'm really hoping that from that date, choirs will be allowed to rehearse indoors in full numbers as long as they have safety measures in place. We've got safety measures in place. You have now seen that we've got safety measures in place. So many choirs across the UK have got safety measures in place. We just want to sing. I'm sorry this has been a bit of a hijacking of my channel for a personal cause, but I felt really passionate about making a video and using this very small platform to share this message. I am going to go now. If you agree with me that the choirs should be allowed to sing, please give this video a big fat thumbs up. You can even do a nice la as you do it. That would be great. You can click on my floaty head if you'd like to subscribe, and last week's video is over there. Talk to you next week. Bye!